All right, moving on. A woman opened fire at the YouTube headquarters in Northern California, wounding at least 3 people. Among those injured is a 36-year-old man who's in a critical condition. One woman was reported to be in a serious condition. Now, the shooter has since been identified as one Nasim Najafi. She later died due to self-inflicted wounds. The police is treating the incident as a domestic dispute.
It was very chaotic, as you can imagine. We did encounter one victim with an apparent gunshot wound towards the front of the business as we arrived. Several minutes later, while conducting a search of the premises, officers located a second individual with a gunshot wound that appears to may have been self-inflicted. We are still working on confirming that. 2 additional victims were located several minutes later at an adjacent business. The extent of all of the injuries of our victims are unknown right now. They were all transported for emergency medical care, but they are all unknown. So if I missed that, we have 4 victims.
Every person was shot who was here today. We have 3 victims, they all were shot.
But when you say they had multiple injuries, does that mean each person had multiple injuries?
Well, if you have 2 holes, that means you have multiple injuries, right?
Each one of them?
Yes.
The attack caused panic and chaos in the technology hub south of San Francisco. The visuals on your screens now show YouTube employees running with their hands raised above their heads. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump took to Twitter to express his condolences after he was briefed about the shooting.
Well, I saw the victim. She was in the dining room and she had a leg injury. It's a gunshot wound. So I put like a tourniquet on her to try to help her. The ambulance came and then they took her away, put a real tourniquet on her.
All right, joining me live from Chicago is my colleague Andy Rogen. Good evening, Andy. Should I say good morning where you are? The police, I'm told, is treating this incident as a domestic dispute. What do we know about the suspect's complaint with YouTube?
Well, actually, just to update you on that, we've learned that this actually was not a domestic dispute. This had nothing to do with the victims who were shot. This woman apparently picked them at random. They had no connection to her at all. Her name is Nasim Najafi, as you said. And it looks like that the reason why she carried out this shooting was because she just simply had a lot of anger towards YouTube. She had many YouTube channels going. She put out many videos. She identified herself as Persian. She was living in the United States in San Diego, south of San Francisco. All of her videos, many of her videos, are spoken either in English or in Farsi. And so many of them are about animal testing. She was very much a vegan, a very angry protester against animal mistreatment. She carried out protests against companies that carried on animal testing. Some of her videos had some rather disturbing images of animals being tested by companies. So that was her. That's what she was into. Also, some bodybuilding videos as well. Now, she had a lot of complaints against YouTube. In fact, recently she put out a video in which she really ranted against the company for what she said was censorship of her videos and not paying her enough for her videos. So her family had a lot of serious worries about her. In fact, she went missing a couple days ago from her home in San Diego.
Right.
Her brother tells a TV station that, in fact, he warned police that she might do something towards YouTube, something violent perhaps. And she was found sleeping in a car about 30 miles south of the YouTube headquarters on Tuesday morning, a few hours before the shooting. And apparently authorities and her family thought that might be the end of it because she was found safe, but obviously it was not the end of it.
Right. Also, Andy, in one of her videos, the woman suspect said that the age restriction clause is not applied to videos with adult themes, such as music videos by Nicki Minaj or Miley Cyrus. Did she have a point? I mean, what's the fine print, if there's one?
That is a good question. That's a subject that we're looking into to find out exactly where that line is. And that has been hotly debated on YouTube for years. What crosses the line? What is over the top? Maybe this woman had a point about her videos being censored. We don't know. We're looking into that to find out if her content on her videos showing animals being tested in rather violent ways, if that crossed the line. So But whether or not, of course, that's the case, it certainly didn't justify walking onto campus and shooting 3 people at random. Ironically, today would have been this woman's 39th birthday. But her family, really, their anger about all this is really the fact that she was discovered sleeping in a car half an hour south of the YouTube headquarters, just hours before the shooting.
Right.
And they had told police, apparently, again, that she might be violent towards the company because she had so much anger toward the company. Ironically, her videos are getting a lot more views now that she's dead than they ever did when she was alive.
Right, and I want to come back to you one more time, Andy, before I let go of you. Is policing content a big problem for social media companies, especially since they thrive on people sharing that content?
Well, that has been the hot debate in Silicon Valley over the last few weeks. Not only at Facebook, where, as you know, there's been a lot of talk about putting restrictions on what can be seen. You talked about fake news. Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, has promised that he would do more to clamp down on what's called fake news. At YouTube, they have really struggled with this as well. They've had popular YouTube stars, especially among the younger generation, who've been admonished for posting violent or very questionable videos. So they've done a lot of soul searching as well. But the big question here is, really, was this woman's content violent or not? And I think the bigger issue is not so much whether her video was violent, whether it crossed a line, whether YouTube was correct in censoring her videos, as she claims, but really the bigger issue is her mental health and her access to a gun. That's a question that has yet to be answered, is how she got a hold of a semi-automatic handgun.